It's a shame they don't run that one like they do the common council.
Yeah,
then you would see just how poorly this money is spent, and it's barely above apathy. Everybody's kind of sitting
You're going to frighten the
around.
taxpayers with this stuff, George. Good morning. Welcome to the Memorial Day meeting of the Racine Taxpayers Spending and Loan Association. Director George Myers to my left.
Thanks.
Director Jim Spodek to my right. Now, gentlemen, we have, I'm Dr. Jorgen, the chairman of the board. We have some proposals here. We've got $705,000 we need to get rid of. And I'm proposing that we have three properties that we spend it on. I don't think we need to go into detail on this, but I would move that we approve this spending. All in favor, say aye.
Well,
Aye.
Yeah, we don't ask any questions.
All
George.
opposed, say nay.
Look, just
No, let's do the vote. Are you opposed?
Is it for the children?
It's always for the children.
is it for the greater good?
The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Passed. 700.
Is there money in the account?
Oh yeah, there's money available.
Sufficient money available.
Turn it over to the RDA, and
Yeah, it'll go.
they'll spend it.
Well, now that we've spent it, why don't we take a look and see what we've spent it on, huh? We got two buildings being rehabbed and one being built.
700,000. Nice.
Yeah, $215,000 apiece for the rehabs. Not bad, huh?
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
it's good money if you can. $275,000 to build a new one. That's over on Packard Avenue, 1538 Packard Avenue. Nice neighborhood.
Yeah, what the Dirty Peas are trying to keep it straight over there.
Yeah,
That
the Dirty
little- that little
Peas?
gang, the gangs, Packard Phillip gang.
Oh, yeah, well,
Well, here it is.
maybe they'll get the construction
I
done.
believe it's CDBG money. Now,
Yes.
as we looked into it a little deeper, it was apparently the city acquires or is granted $1.8 million a year, and out of that, apparently 705,000 is going to be for 3 homes in the city of Racine.
$3 short of 1.9 million.
It's
Yeah.
I don't know how you really justify the spending on any of that when that money really was for community engagement. I don't really see this doing it.
Well, now they sell
Big
these
chunk of
houses,
change.
right?
Yeah, that's the intent.
So
yeah.
they're built. Yeah, so they sell it for 700,000. I mean, of course they're going to sell it.
Well,
They're going to sell it for that,
Listen,
right?
George, it'll be some deal to somebody for
Yeah.
like a fraction of the cost.
for sale to an income-eligible household.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it'll be somebody that's related to somebody. Believe me, you just follow the line. It's
For sale to a CDBG-eligible homeowner.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
here's
know
the
what
thing: how does
qualifications
Habitat
that
for
are.
Humanity? They seem to do a great job, and they don't have any. I'm sure they don't hit any of these numbers. And they
No.
have the person that's actually going to purchase the home, participate in the building or the renovation of it. So I mean, they have a great program. This is just, to me, just spending money, throwing it away. I mean, you can't tell me there's other ways that money can be spent in a more
Effective
positive
manner. Yeah.
or don't spend it, or maybe they have to spend it. I don't know. I remember DeHaan saying, "People don't understand. We have to spend this money."
Well, I understand that philosophy. I mean, the money is available from the federal government, and so you want to spend it on community development. And it's money that it's migrated from the state up to the federal government. They keep a little bit, and then they send it back down. So, it's basically our money. When they talk about federal dollars, people get the impression that it's like falling out of heaven. No, this is money that came out of our pockets and went up to Washington to begin with, and is just coming back. Right,
And
George?
some of it adds to that great deficit, that
Right,
nice $1 trillion. Sometimes they just put a number in a book and say, okay, we have money now, go
Yeah.
spend it.
Well,
So there are other ways that it gets there, but it all ultimately comes back to us. I mean, even if it's in debt or inflation or whatever it is, we're paying.
well, all
for
right,
it.
all right. Let's just take the 700,000 that's going to be taken out of this CDBG money. What else could be done with it? I would just throw it on the table. And what else could we do with that money?
I don't know what the guidelines are for CDBG
Well, I think
money.
part of it is they want to have it so it stirs economic growth. I can remember back where they had organizations come in and ask for certain amounts of money to community centers. I mean, we cut these community centers, but we go and do $250,000, $750,000 on 3 houses. It just doesn't make any sense to me. We cut streetlights off at $90,000, and we spend. I just don't see.
Well,
to
well,
me,
you know
just
what?
no leadership is what I'm seeing.
The guy that we had in here and interviewed a while back,
Yeah.
Ola, that's doing job training for people in the construction industry. I mean, I would think, I don't know all the details, but I would think that these would be good projects for people to learn on and earn a salary while they're learning.
That would be very good for that.
Yeah.
There-
It
I
would
mean, there's
seem
a
to
lot
me-
of boarded up houses there with a lot of taxes due. Check some of them out, and it's like, if to bring people in there like Ola had and teach them, actually go in and fix up a house and get it ready for the market. You can do it for a tenth of that.
Yeah.
Very small amount. Jim, you and I both have done rehabs of older houses. You don't have to spend $200,000
No.
on a $40,000 house to get it running again. But people would learn. If you want the economy to grow and you want to spend this money in a good way, I just think you need to look at the production end of the economic cycle. I mean, economics is producing, distributing, and the consumption of goods and services. That's the study of economics. Produce something, distribute it, consume it. Now, when you operate at the consumer end of it, which we normally do,
Yep.
the problem with that is if you're going to grow, but people are going to consume things. They have to have money in order to do that. Make sense? Okay. But if you will work on the production end, people don't need any money to get over there and work. They can go to a job with no money, totally broke, nothing in the bank, in debt, and if you're willing to work, you can still get a job. You can come in and produce. You make money so that you go to the opposite end of the economic cycle and you consume. You can buy things now. Buy a house, rent an apartment, buy something at the store.
Assuming somebody's producing something of value that needs employees to help with the production.
Right. Well, that's
Well,
right.
that's the whole. But
That's where if you put your money over there and concentrate on that, what would be a good production entity to bring to Racine? Now what could you do with $1 million? And you're saying,
Yeah.
how are we going to get something in Racine that produces things? Sometimes it means fixing up an old building or something like that, so it's more workable. So somebody,
Right.
we've got twice the tax rate of Mount Pleasant and Caledonia. We've discussed that 3 times Sturtevant. But and why would somebody go into Caledonia or Mount Pleasant? Why would they come to Racine when they can go there and they can operate for half the cost? Plus, they're closer to I-94. But we have something that they don't have. We have lots of buildings around.
That's right.
Lots of space for companies. If you go to Mount Pleasant or Caledonia, you got to build your own place. So you start off with $1 million expense just to build a plant so you can work there.
Well, that's
We've got stuff here already.
But here's the problem, George. It's a club here. You have to get in the club before you get to that point.
No, I understand. I'm just saying. Where would you put your money?
Yeah.
Now, there's another thing that'd be nice to do alongside with putting our money there. In other words, concentrate on that end of the economic cycle. That's all I'm
totally
saying.
agreement.
Look at the
Yep.
area where things are produced, not where they're distributed. Amazon.com's real good at that. There's, UPS, those are
Right.
distribution companies, and certainly not where they're consuming things.
Right.
I would not be concentrating because economic growth does not come about from consumption. No. For those of you who studied economics under the Keynesian model, you got an argument there. But,
right.
but the point is that's not the way it really works. It starts with production, then you distribute it, and then you consume. Now, over here in this production thing, that's where you really got to start deregulating too. That's where we got to look at that 12-foot table of contents on the zoning laws.
Right.
So you get people in there. And that they can just start up a business.
You have to, George, the way I look at it, you have to go back to how it worked. When this city got started, it started out of garages. It started out of a lot of buildings. If you look at them, they got a little storefront in front of their house. you know, it was a barber shop, beauty salon, I don't know, sold different things, bakeries, and they started, to me, go back to that, start that back, bring in people so there's not a lot of overhead, not a lot of restrictions, let them start up.
Well, I tell you what, I understand what you're saying, but that's an old model. I mean, it was driven in large part by immigration, people moving into the area who needed things.
What do we have here? The Hispanic communities here. Why don't we? One of our things is we all want to have these causeways with umbrella drinks and with everybody's going to just trample in here to spend their dollars. It's not happening. You know, why don't you build what you have? You have a population here. Work off the people that are here. We don't do that. You know,
I started out with immigration, but it was multifaceted. I mean, you got to produce food, so I mean, agriculture was a big thing. Agriculture became mechanized. That was a big thing. I mean, it was a whole different economy back then than what we have now. It was a whole different civilization and culture that was back then than we have now.
I agree, but you know what?
You get into the 80s and 90s though, and you've got a very heavy manufacturing base here. It was said that
it was well on the way out by the 80s and 90s.
70s and 80s.
75, that's right. The 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
75 was its peak.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, you know what a lot of that was driven by? Was driven by wars. I mean, a lot of the manufacturing capability that existed in this town in its heyday was initiated by war production.
Well, that's an old theory of it.
A lot of it was. I'm not saying it all was, but I mean, that was a big driving force. We also had a lot of innovation here. I mean, we get Syncerator and S.C. Johnson and Modine and all of.
But the
there
thing
were a
is
lot
here,
of places that were making
I'm not
consumer
looking for the
products
government
in addition to
come in and to spur any businesses on, just get out of their way, but to take $750,000 to really. It's just going to be money spent. I know they're thinking there's going to be some great renovation, and it's going to one particular home in the neighborhood. It's going to spur other activity.
Yeah, I don't think it's
not
going to
happen.
create a lot.
You have
totally
to come in a bigger way, incorporate that whole community into a change in the whole dynamics of it. One house is not going to do it.
Well, I go
back to leadership again. Where's the leadership on all of this?
Well, I'm going to just finish off on the thing of building a house there. That has some workability as long as the money keeps coming in from the outside.
Yeah, well.
All right? But if that ever dries up, if suddenly people figure out, hey, we've got to do something about this $20 trillion debt, we got to quit spending money like this, then Racine will immediately stop any type of production, disappears, and we haven't gained anything. Whereas if you put it over into someone, you're talking about leadership now it's where you get in, we're going to get into something that actually has got a future by itself without having the government come in and feed it from the state and from the federal levels and continue to feed it so we can keep doing that. This building of houses, if it wasn't for government money...
No, it wouldn't happen.
Well, it's not just feeding it, it's a feedback loop. I mean, a lot of that money's going up to the national level and it's, coming back to the local level, and you're not getting as much on the return stroke as you are on the output stroke.
No, you don't. It has to sift through a bureaucaucy.
Yeah,
and
right.
And here's the other thing. On the 700,000, was it 20% is going toward administration?
Yeah, that's one chart show. 20% of this is going to administration. I mean, that's of that 700,000
Who's the
houses.
recipient
Is it
of that?
20%?
I mean, isn't it
$140,000 is going
to administer this?
Isn't the city administering it?
Yeah. Apparently, city development. So they're getting $140,000 to administer rehabbing 2 houses and building a third.
Yeah, there's your admin. 20% says that's on this chart that they put out here, and that's the sifting process. In other words, we send up a whole $1 billion up to the federal government or even the state level. By the time it gets back down here, there's been so many bureaucrats had their hand on it, decide who's going to get it, and this type of stuff. That by it comes back, there's about 2/3 of it left. It's a third of it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
There was. No, never mind. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to beat that one to death because I've heard about the welfare program. And if you took all the welfare, at this it goes back 40 years. But the statistic where if you took all the welfare and you could get it immediate to the recipient, those recipients would all be living in new houses, driving nice cars, and doing fine instead of their 300. Why is that? Well, because the bureaucracy is absorbing about 90% of it to make sure that the
if they aren't working in the bureaucracy, where are they going to be working?
I know.
I mean, it's the thing is kind of self-inflating.
And I think that's what you have at City Hall. Again, I go back to the leadership. You're telling me that somebody in there is saying, well, this is the way it's got to be. I guarantee you, if you put $100,000 on the table and said, if you could make that 750,000, change it to do something else, a miracle would happen and it would change. There's ways of doing this. They just have decided, well, it's just easy enough to
It's easier just to
To
take
blow
these
this
old
money.
houses.
Yeah,
Money comes in from
yeah.
the federal government. They're not
There's
even
no
allowed to make
creativity.
money off of it.
And it
Yeah.
seems like an awful lot of money for rehabbing and
Well,
and
there's no
building a house.
creativity,
It
number
just
one.
seems
What
like an
what
awful
really
lot.
has the city done in the last 30 years that's had any real creativity to it? There's been no...
Well, there's the Imaginarium, Machinery
you go.
Row, Point Blue, Reporter Pro. Oh, wait a minute, none of those got finished, did
No.
they?
I'm just telling you, they've wasted huge amounts of money here. They're going to 2032. This money that is from the county on this intergovernmental fund, that's going to be drying up. Okay, now what? I mean, just take a ride around. I mean, you just look around your community. This kind of money could fill potholes, alleyways.
Yeah, there you go. Now
you
you're
know,
talking.
I'm
yeah.
just saying, there's ways it can be done.
We got
I
so
know
many
that CD
potholes, the triathlon decided not to
Yeah.
come back because they were ruining their bikes on the rotten
Exactly.
roads we got.
Right. So I mean, there's a lot of things here that could be you could utilize that money for.
Here's a big saving right here, though. Big savings. Racine Event Center, the arena project, didn't go through. We saved, what, $49 million is what they were projecting on...
Well, it's 55 million.
Yeah, it kept
was
going
good,
up,
yeah.
and there were people that were saying you can't do that for for less than 125, the way you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean,
Well,
it's unfortunate because look at this. This is beautiful. It's an event center and a hotel.
well, 600,000 for that.
600,000 for this? I don't think I could have done it for less than 700,000. How many
Yeah.
pages are here and on two sides? My
Yeah.
God.
Well, they
this-
did a PowerPoint with that too.
yeah, this has got to be at least a week's project.
Here's the thing.
$600,000.
Well, we might as well get into it. Who's the? That was Hammis.
Hammis Company, yeah. And gee, their name came up again just recently. Where was that? Let's see. I think it had something to do with Foxconn.
I
Yeah,
think it was,
yeah. Yeah, they were selected to be the
Master planner, it says
for
here.
Foxconn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
master planners of Foxconn. So now the arena is dead. So they just swing around.
The arena's dead. Long live Foxconn.
So now they're in charge of Foxconn, a $10 billion project. Now you're telling me pay to play doesn't work? How much
Yeah.
was given to the Republican PAC? 250,000.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars to Republicans. Hundreds of thousands, it says here.
Yeah.
This is an article from the AP. That was just from the Hammis Group.
Yeah. So you pay a politician, or in this case, I think he had something to do with Walker's campaign, Hammis.
Well, if you paid me $600,000 to put together a document like this, you know, I could. If you wanted
Squeeze a
to
little
run,
money out,
yeah,
yeah.
if you wanted to run for office, I could help you out.
Yeah. Yeah. So anytime you look at this now, I mean, it's just here's the thing: we had to have this arena. The aldermen were just begging to get this. That we had to have it. It was going to change things. I mean, they've got to look at some of this stuff, and I don't know if they actually see it. It was a scam, really, from the beginning. This arena was going to come in. It was going to $55 million paid by the taxpayers. Enough pressure was applied to put that on ice. But now that money keeps flowing to the politicians. They just moved it over to the state level. Now a $10 billion project with the same guys. He builds an arena. He can build a whatever.
A huge factory
I
campus.
mean-
There is, yeah. But they were right about the arena because, you know, it failed and now the city's gone to hell.
Yeah, yeah, sure did. I want to go look at Augie. I wanted to see Augie game today.
Well, it was fortunate that the people could see through that.
Yeah.
Because
that was-
that again, that working as a consumption end of the economic cycle, right? We're going to go down and we're going to watch a hockey game, or we're going to watch. It's consume.
That would have been a
there's
horrible
a little bit
deadline.
of production
Horrible.
when you first build it,
Right.
But after that, it's all consuming. And that means people have to have time, money to go
But here's
down
where
and
I'm
spend
going.
it.
It's just like, you know, the Simpson monorail episode.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. They come in, they're going to sell this. Oops, that didn't work. Okay, now we just switch gears. What else you got for us?
Yeah,
so
it
now
was
here's
like
a little money.
Yeah, it was like the monorails and the commuter rails ran out of steam. So okay, what's new? What are we going?
Name's Landley, Lyle Landley. And I come before you good people tonight with an idea. Probably the greatest
you're going to get a whole lot of information. You're going to know an incredible amount more than you knew before about both the design and the financing. And if you like what you've heard, you'll be in a position to start moving forward on.
Oh, it's not for you. It's more of a Shelbyville idea.
Now, wait just a minute. We're twice as smart as the people of Shelbyville. Just tell us your idea and we'll vote for it.
Two things. The first thing is that southeastern Wisconsin can accept one of these. The numbers aren't really there for 2 or 3 in southeastern Wisconsin.
All right? I tell you what I'll do. I'll show you my idea. I give you the Springfield Monorail. I've sold monorails to Brockway, Ogdenville, and North Haverbrook, and by gum, it put them on the map. There's nothing on earth like a genuine, bona fide, electrified 6-car monorail. What'd I say?
Monorail.
What's it called?
Monorail.
That's right, monorail.
I was really inspired by a great plan, and we really feel like phase 1 probably is that great plan we need to reinvigorate the county and the private sector in this project.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just saying, again,
cool.
it's just pay to play in politics.
Yeah,
you see it all the
exactly.
time. And here's a perfect example. The amazing thing about, to me, is it's now listed in the paper. They write an article about the pay to play. Well, we paid them enough money, so now we got this side deal for $10 billion. If you really take and look at investing, I don't know what he put in, $350,000 in investments. I'm calling the
You mean campaign donations?
campaign donations, investments now.
Yeah, well,
they're investments to get this larger project.
We're the board of directors, so
Yeah.
we can talk like that, you know. I mean, I'm sure that's
Oh,
how
my God.
the conversation goes down behind closed doors that we never get on the other side of.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just. But they printed a paper like, well, that's just news, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, what country are we in?
no relationship there.
No.
None whatsoever.
No
They
problem.
just, you know,
so now
they-
you look at the agencies that are out there socially protected from this happening to the community, bearing on a game. I mean, it's bad.
yeah.
This is
Well,
not a bad-
it's
this is
become so common that people aren't paying attention to it anymore. Like you say, they talk about the contribution. Person just awarded this contract, but he's contributed a lot to Republicans, and the Republicans, of course, are rewarding the contract, and nobody thinks a thing of it. It's like
They're
it's like
conservatives, George. They're the
everybody's-
conservatives.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like everybody's just doing it, so don't worry about it. It makes it okay. You know?
Well, you know how fascism is defined, don't you? I mean, everybody thinks that fascism is like this militaristic dictatorship kind
Doesn't
of
have
thing.
to
It's
be.
the blending of corporate and government interests. I mean, where the corporations and the government become basically one. That was
pretty much there.
Mussolini's definition, and he's the guy that invented the term.
He's the one that brought. Yeah,
Yeah.
it used to be called the third way, and he called it fascism. He gave it the name fascism. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the third way. It was a moderation between the socialism and that was at that time was the libertarians, free market capitalists, and we had to meet in the middle because these two were too extreme.
And
call it
the
fascism.
fascists were the moderates. Oh, yeah.
They were the third way. They were in the middle. That's what it used to be called before. It's called fascism. Before Mussolini gave it its name.
Oh, my God.
Well, it's going on, and somewhere along the line, we're going to have to decide that that's not the way to do it. And I don't know. You know, you talk about where's the leadership, and you see the most sorrowful of it, I think, on that redevelopment authority.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I
when I look at that and I watch them what they do, and you know, we get a little bit of a video of the meetings. We did it because somebody else was videoing part of it, so we got to see part of the meeting on video. It's a shame they don't run that one like they do the common council.
Yeah, I agree.
Then you would see just how poorly this money is spent, and it's barely above apathy. Everybody's kind of sitting
You're going to frighten the
around.
taxpayers with this stuff, George.
Is that what?
You're going to frighten the taxpayers with this stuff.
Well, I don't think so. Imagine if they get
As the
frightened.
board of directors of the Spend and
I
Loan
think they're below
Association,
fright.
we
I
have
think
to
they're down into
prove-
Yeah,
apathy.
it's just-
We got to get them up to being,
Oh, well, yeah,
they
that's
have
a
an
good
emotion.
point.
and then maybe
That's
go a
good
little
point.
higher and get them
Yeah.
angry.
Well, you're absolutely right. I watch it too, and it's just amazing to me that there's just, well, what do you think? I mean, we're talking about hundreds and thousands of dollars, even millions of
Millions,
dollars.
yeah.
And no problem. It's
No.
going to be wonderful. How many projects continually go through? It's going to be great. This is the one.
No, this is the
Oh,
one, right?
No, that's
Well, you know, we do have Memorial Day today, so I mean, it's the time that we honor all the veterans of the wars that we've been involved in, and it's a good thing to remember those people, and maybe go see the parade today, and think about the people who served your country. And with that, we'll wish you a happy Memorial Day. It's the beginning of the grilling season too, by the way. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for being here.